unlike any other. I'm telling you, dude, it's wonderful.
Legend.
All right, guys. I was warned the other day that there may be somewhat of a lag when I start, so I'm going to bullshit for a second and say what I'm saying right now. And then, thank you for joining Beard of Darkness Book Reviews at 9 o'clock Eastern for those in the U.S. and on the Eastern side. Where are you tonight, Mr. E.C. Greaves?
I am in Christchurch, New Zealand, and it's 2
it.
p.m. here.
2 p.m.
yeah,
So I only
yeah.
ask because it's literally the coolest thing that I've fell into doing this channel is culture and learning more about geology and not what makes us different, but like what makes us all even more the same.
Oh, exactly that. Yeah, that's pretty much the way I look at it too. I love hearing, like people get upset if you ask them where they're from. Sometimes some people do, like, if they have an accent and you say,
How dare somebody
where
get
are you
upset
from?
with somebody
Yeah.
being interested in them?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like, so they'd be like, you say, where are you from? And they kind of take it like, oh, well, I'm not from here. You trying to, other me or whatever? And I'm like, nah, man, it's just I want to learn about everything.
I was just
man.
trying
I
to
want to
be
know.
kind.
Yeah, I want to like meet your ancestors. Via
Yeah.
you.
Let's get personal.
Yeah, hi. So good.
So we had some people waiting. I think that these people were equally as excited as I was because I love talking with you, man. You've been somebody that I can just, if I have like this crazy thought and I'm like, is this a sane thought? Or if I just want your, your advice on something, you're there and you're kind and you're a human. And I just love talking with you, dude. So I'm so happy you're back
likewise.
on the channel.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be a regular thing. Just like a catch up, see how you get on.
I considered that, and I think that I'm going to consider it even harder. It's like you can bet like once every however long we set that we will sit and talk. And I think we just naturally cover awesome topics. It's like, I could try to put together some topics and questions, but I doubt that we're going to follow them. I'll try.
Yeah, I'll spoiler it for everyone. So Matt sends me, you can't even see it. He sends me a list of questions, right? And I looked at them and I was like, bro, we're not going to answer them. Like, yeah, we'll try.
We'll try to get there. It's so good. There's just certain people. I love everybody that I have on the channel, but just like everybody, you click with certain people. And
absolutely, man.
So let's see who's there. John Douglas, of course. That's my guy.
Hail.
He set out the lawn chair, was eating hot dogs, waiting on us. Laura said she was doing some edits. Thank you, Laura, for being here. She was here like 10 minutes early. Yeah. Who's this guy? Yeah, I know who that guy is.
Block that guy.
Mike Roberti. I like to go Roberti, but he even said, no, dude, I just it's like, no, it's just Roberti, man.
What a letdown, Mike. What the hell?
Right? No, he's a wonderful guy. In fact, I can't wait to read his books. I've heard so much wonderful stuff. E.L. Lyons, who I know you guys do work together.
Go away, L.
Oh, damn.
Scam.
Just go, he says. I want you to stay. So, no, that's awesome. Tim McKay is also here. And
other Tim. We're collecting Tims and Matts, eh?
Hey, yeah, I noticed that. I noticed the Matt early. Mike or Matt's book reviews, and then me, and there's like 4 or 5 other Matts that I can't think of right now that I know exist. But now their Tims are taking over, so there may be like a feud someday soon.
I live with a Tim. I live with a Tim and a Martin, but I should try and get Martin to change his name to Matt, just so that I can make them battle.
Yeah, is he? Can he fight? Because we're gonna have to battle the Tims and the Matt.
I imagine so. Yeah.
Okay. So look out for that, guys. We'll
have like a death match.
Yeah, to the death kind of thing, and I guess we can't shake hands afterwards, but maybe if we have them left. Not Switch Book Life. Thank you so much. She's been showing up for my lives lately, and she asks wonderful questions. I still don't know your first name, the only reason I say that is it's a respect thing. I want to call you by name. Just that's how I was raised. I don't know.
Let's put money on the fact that it's either Matilda or is there a girl Tim name?
Oh, so you guess, and I'll guess
Matilda. So she's another Matt. Yeah.
And then be what about? I'll have to get back on that because I brain fart, I guess. But Mike Roberti says, I feel like I say that wrong every time, but he says it's right. I have to trust the guy with the last name. I mean, he's a pretty good source of information. Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't get the context until I pulled it up. Look at me go here. El Montague, hello. Thank you for being here, brother. That's the guy.
El, yeah.
He does my Discord. He's been really good at moderating it and keeping up with things and kind of reminding me when I need to do stuff.
He might be the reason I was kicked out of that.
Oh, you were kicked out of what?
No. In your Discord, he's such a good moderator. He was like, "Nah, get this guy out of here. He's just a troublemaker."
I know. I have to give him the. I have to tell El Montague that you get the free pass. You can say what you want. He comes and goes as he pleases.
Oh, I just saw the comment from Mike saying about where did I get my sweater. So I got this off my mum. My mum literally knitted this.
I'm so far behind on the cats.
She also makes me beanies. So I have a red one and then I have this one. And she made me that green sweater I think I was wearing last time with a red E on it, like of Harry Potter. She just knits me cool stuff. And
I love it.
Just sends them to me. It's so rad.
You're talking to a guy here that I miss my grandmother, and that's the kind of thing I miss is grandmother always had the crocheted sweaters that were way too hot.
Yeah. This is like I'm gonna wear this for maybe another week, and then it'll get too hot here to do it.
So you're going into spring?
Summer? I
Summer?
think we kind of have we have like rainy season and not rainy season. It's really hard to figure out. Like, so spring it rains heaps, but then where I'm in Christchurch down South Island, it gets super windy. Like, it's really windy today. I was actually thinking of taking this outside and just sitting in the sun because it's really nice and warm. But it's so windy, you wouldn't be able to hear me. I'd need one of those big like cat ass things. But yeah, it's like we get that, and then it just goes blisteringly hot. Like you step outside it. We have a burn time of I think 15 minutes during midday. If you go outside in the sun, if you're as pasty as me, then you just end up like a lobster.
Oh wow!
You shed your whole skin just comes off like a snake. You just it just peels off.
Okay.
But yeah, and then it just rains for the rest of the year.
Do you like rain?
I like rain and I like sun, but I hate wind. So if it's like raining and it's comfy and I'm inside, it's real cozy.
Yeah.
But and I like driving in the rain, even though I have terrible eyesight, so I like to blame it on the rain. But really, it's just I can't see shit when I'm driving anyway. But,
well, we'll keep that a secret because I do the same thing. I agree. Like today in Ohio, in the U.S., today it was finally a frigid day. Like it's been raining all day, and then it's also like 38 or 39. Obviously, you get way colder weather there. For us sissies here in the U.S., that's cold, man, for us. And so today was the first day I actually felt the frigidness coming. You know, winter's coming.
Don't worry. It'll end poorly anyway. You know, they'll rush the last bit of winter.
So I want to make sure because Knox Witch Book Life did answer us. Her name is Lucinda. Very nice to meet you, Lucinda. Cool. I love that name. And Knox is her black cat. Well, now we know both of your names. Thank you so much for being here. And I will do my absolute best to remember Lucinda.
I'm
who's this guy?
I forget everyone. Oh, this Nick guy. So I don't know if everybody knows this. Well, you probably do. If we're watching your channel, then
If you either follow me or EC Greaves, you've heard of this guy.
Oh yeah. So just today I tweeted it out, but like. So I've been talking to Nick for a while, and honestly, I'm so stupid. I'd heard his name, right, and I was like, Nick Horvath. Okay, cool. He's like a basketball dude. I don't really follow sport. I'm about as sporty as a piece of A4 paper, and I'm like sitting there, like, you know, like see Nick's name come up, and I'm like, that's funny. He's got the same name as someone, and then
somebody famous.
I was like, well, it wasn't even the fame thing to begin with. At first, I was like, did I go to university with this guy? And like, he's messaged me and he's expecting me to remember, and then I'm sitting there going, oh, okay, hello, nice to meet you. But the whole time he knows me, I'm like, fuck, do I actually know him? And then I'm like sitting there and I'm like, why is his name so familiar? And then I was reading Sledge, which you should read, by the way. I mean, you're reading it, right? It's so fucking awesome.
I'm like, I think I'm like 40 pages from the end.
Dude, it is so fun.
It's amazing.
Like when he's talking about basketball stuff, and my brain just like slow cogs click into place, and I'm like,
that's
like this whole time, I'm like, should I have been more like respectful.
So,
He's like famous and shit.
dude, he commented one time about how he was playing against Yao Ming. I
Yeah.
mean, Yao Ming
Oh,
is
that
a
dude's a
very
monster,
popular
right?
NBA player. Well, he was. I don't, you can't be 7'6" and be healthy for very long.
Yeah, you end up like that dude off all them,
Or
like
your heart just gives up.
Addams Family Guy. That's like, yeah,
Yeah.
true. Well, yeah, you got to pump blood down like 6 miles of limb.
Well, a lot of the times too, like these, some of these Asian basketball players, that not specific to Asian any means, but just the examples I can think of, they have tumors in their pituitary gland.
Oh, no
A
way.
couple of them, yeah. And so your pituitary gland controls like growth. So when that's all going haywire, you grow to be 8 foot tall, and just your heart just kind of gives out, kind of thing. I've heard of that kind of thing in the NBA. But I digress. Nick is only 6'10", which is a feasible.
It's like a little baby man, you know.
Just, he'll have to look up to me for sure.
We already do. Just on like a metaphysical level.
No, thank you for that. Yeah, he's 6'10", and I caught a basketball reference a couple times now in his books.
Yeah.
And I would bet all the money that I have that those are like his exact experiences, like rebound
that's
king.
That's what I
see
felt
him
like
in the paint, just like throwing bows, just grabbing the rock and saying, "That's my ball."
Yeah, absolutely got that.
And I know this guy named Sledge, so you better not mess with me. Let me. So I was super behind on the chats. Thank you guys for being here.
We fucked it up even more. Like, you guys,
of course,
just stop chatting for a second, please, so we can catch up.
I can't think with one person, guys. So it's gonna like start steam coming out of my ears. So just be prepared.
And I'm ADHD as fuck, so it's gonna like I'll see 2 chats and I'll just go on a tangent, and then I'll forget that,
Well, it will definitely be entertaining. Then they won't be not entertained. It will be fun to watch at least, right? Like this guy can't pay attention. This guy is like losing in the chats.
he's trying to wrangle this guy.
It's a real Jerry Springer situation going on over at the Bay of Darkness over here.
You just got to chuck some chairs around.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna if I skip some questions that are super important to you, I would really like you to repeat them if I miss them. I never mean to do that. Philip Chase, thank you for stopping in. Another wonderful indie author.
Hey, Philip.
A wonderful booktuber. He says, "Greetings, dropping by to say hello before I go to bed. I'll check out the replay." Thank you so much, Philip.
I gotta say, Philip is possibly the most relaxing and peaceful person to watch. Like, I don't know.
I call him the gentleman of fantasy booktube.
Yeah, his vibe. Like he'll talk, and he could be talking about anything, and it cures my ADHD. I'm wrapped. Like I'm just sitting there, just watching what he say, but it's like I'm really calm at the same time. So yeah,
I think it has a lot to do with. Phil. He's like a personable person. He's very intelligent. He knows his audience. A combination of that and just being good at it. He does his thing, and people like what he's doing. And I'm a huge fan.
Also, check out his books.
And if you haven't seen, which I'm sure you guys have, his Adan. I hope I'm saying that right. Adan trilogy is going to be a broken binding special edition hard. It's going to be so cool. So congratulations.
If they don't make the front cover out of actual stained glass, I'm going to be really disappointed,
I want real shards of glass.
Yeah. Or one of those, like, those little things you used to get as a kid. They're like a frame, and you melt the little pieces of shit in the oven, and it turns into like stained glass. It should come with one of those as like a bonus.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness, man! I seen that today though, and I was just thinking, man, what a deserving guy. Like, I think that he absolutely has done something wonderful with his trilogy. Just from the people I know who have read it and have told me about it, and other booktubers who have reviewed it, and I've watched it. It's something consistently positively talked about.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for him.
I feel like a dingus because I bought them all. I very, very slowly get through my books. I just buy them because I'm like, well, at least my money's helping someone out, right? But then I'm like, I'll get to this eventually. And it's like I've got so many friends that I've made now, and I've got all their books, and I'll read like a little bit of each. And then I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm gonna keep that one for later. And then I'm like,
I thought that I was the only one.
Yeah, but now I feel like a dickhead because I'm like, I'd like to buy the special editions where I can, just because it's kind of like cool. Because then showing people that it kind of helps out as well. You can be like, check out this sick book, and then people will go, wow, that's cool, maybe buy it.
Yeah.
Well,
It
but
goes better than having like a buddy over or like family and saying, hey, I know we're
yeah,
gonna go eat dinner in a minute, but come check this thing
check
out,
this
you
out.
know?
Yeah. Oh, it's maps, eh? Like
Maps.
I get distracted. I'm sorry if you're getting distracted, but
Dude,
so
I haven't even asked a question yet. We're just doing our thing.
yeah,
Absolutely. I love it.
you know, Dominish, right? Like, so
Yeah,
thank you so much, Dominish, for picking my book for SPFBO, which is on topic.
it
But
is.
so I watched his videos for a while, and it is really, I think we talked about it last time. I just really like his accent.
Yeah, the
He
accent
just
makes it
sounds so
legit.
nice. Yeah, and so I was watching them, and he did this one the other day about maps, right? Fantasy maps, and I've drawn one. It's really shit, but because I got halfway through trying to, and then I realized like I don't think the geography of my world even makes sense. Like I worked out the travel times by looking up this like coolest thing. It's this thing that Harvard did about like the Roman travel times, and so I made sure that all the travel time would be correct. But then I was like, wait a minute, if it was actually that far apart, it wouldn't work. But anyway, so I was looking at the video and I was watching it, and somehow like my two mates that they don't read very much, they're not into fantasy, but they gather around and they were like, "Oh, that map, no, that one's better." Like, and we were like
Yeah, yeah.
arguing.
It's
This
in our
video
DNA.
became like an hour-long argument about like what makes a good fantasy map and stuff. So if you're doing special edition, you've got to have one.
Yeah, I would also like to point out because it's hilarious when you do it. You have a way of saying something like inspiring or like, oh, I love that, and then shitting all over it. Like, oh, I just done this really cool thing. I drew my own fantasy map. It's shit. It's like, oh,
Oh, yeah. I wonder if that's like a Kiwi thing. Like, I mentioned tall poppy syndrome in one of the chats, and you were like, what the fuck is tall poppy syndrome? So here, it's like a huge thing where if someone is good at something, generally not sport, we're pretty good at celebrating sports successes. But if it's academic or anything like that, like we have a tendency to kind of crab in a bucket or whatever, like pull people down, like belittle them a little bit. Like you don't want to be the smart kid in school. Like you kind of
never,
dumb
right?
yourself down. Yeah, and so it's really bad here. Like, but then when someone is successful in New Zealand, we're all like, "Yeah, it was me. I did that. That's so my success too." It's like then we claim them. But
that's
up
a
until
funny
then, we're
little
like, "Oh, it
tidbit
sucks."
because it's the culture. It's like
Yeah,
uh,
it's like ultra humble, but in a really dumb way.
a twisted way. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I think is the best word to say it because I want to eventually be able to travel, and we will when my kids stop shoving chicken nuggets and terrible places in the van and ranch packets that have
Yeah,
rotted long time ago because they're in forbidden areas that I
that
didn't
is.
even know existed.
It's a Honda Odyssey, right?
Yeah, it's a Honda
Yeah,
Odyssey.
that's what they're for, right? Like every Honda Odyssey I've ever seen. I used to work as like a secondhand car salesman for a little while, and they'd come in, and you would just literally be picking out the sauce packets from like McDonald's or whatever, or
These guys got
chips,
kids.
yeah, and they're like a single chip will somehow find its way all the way into the cabin air filter, and you're like, how the fuck did the kid
Oh yeah,
stick it in there? They do it.
they're like little baby geniuses, and they slowly grow out of it. And like
Yeah,
we get critical and hate ourselves, but when you're at that age, they're just like, I think that I can do this, and I'm going to,
yeah,
whether they
yeah.
like it or not.
Oh,
But
the trick though, if you want to travel and you got heaps of kids, you just got to wait until they're old enough that you can put them to work, and then they can fund it for you.
oh, I'm sorry, repeat. I was reading his
Oh,
comment and I missed it.
yeah. So when you've got heaps of kids, so like my family, I got 4 siblings. There's 5 of us, right? And mum and
Mhm.
dad moved to New Zealand from England, and it was like the only way that they could afford to do that really was by putting us to work as little chimbley sweeps and stuff. Like
Okay.
once your children can make a bit of income, then you can retire and you can do all your traveling, leave them at home.
So
That's the
what
trick.
I hear is let's retire 8 years old. Let's get them a full time
Yeah,
job,
they're small
and
enough to
I'm going to
fit
sit
into
at
all the
home.
machinery. Yeah.
That's hilarious. So Nick, who is also one of those guys, it's like you can't talk to him, or I haven't talked to him like we are yet, but I've
Mm.
messaged him, and even through text, I'm like, oh, I don't know why, I'm just pumped up. Let's go.
Yeah.
I gotta lift some
Yep.
weights now for some reason. He says, dude, Ed, you provide me with a continual stoke. Oh, I like it.
I was actually saying, I think I said on Twitter, I haven't even checked to see if he's replied, but I wondered whether stoked is a thing that other people say. Like,
Yeah.
we say it all the time in New Zealand. Like, it's probably the most common
So
thing.
like if you're really
happy, you say you're
excited, you're stoked.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm not 100% sure if it's an Aussie slang or a Kiwi slang first, but it's like everything. We'll claim it, and then the Aussies will claim it, and then then we'll fight over it forever. But I've seen it used a few times in like from American people and stuff, but I've never heard a British person say they're stoked.
Okay, that's interesting.
But that might just
too.
be
I love
because
that.
British people just said never stoked. So
Well, and it's like I can't. I don't know. I don't know what I was going to try to say, but a lot of the time when I hear somebody like a British accent, it just makes everything sound. That's the right way. It's like that's
Yeah.
legit. It sounds so professional. I want my
Yep.
ebook just like, or my audio books to sound like your voice, like Stephen Pacey for Joe Abercrombie's, all of his. I think he's done all his. It's like what a great voice this guy's got. In fact, it's not even fair. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell, dude? Well, you're stealing the vocal cords here.
I was horrified to learn that Elle Lyons, when she read my book and just when she
Horrified.
books in general, she hears them in American accents, and I'm like, that's just not acceptable. Like,
Oh hell,
there's a reason why they hire all the British like actors for things like Game of Thrones and stuff. Like, if it's fantasy, that's the only acting that British people are allowed to do.
So let me know in the chat, guys, because I'm about to get real personal. When I read to myself, I probably like 60% of the time it's in a British accent. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I'm probably a weirdo for that, but like when I'm watching Lord of the Rings, I mean that's what I hear.
Yeah, that's
so
how
it
it
just
should be, right?
sounds evocative.
There she goes. Zen is a redneck in my head.
Zen is redneck in my head. That's what yells.
Just y'all
Y'all.
doing my stitching. I can't do a redneck accent, but I assume
It actually wasn't bad because I like right where I live. That is exactly the vernacular.
Oh man. I was also horrified yet again to learn that, like, so she called her dog. If you've not read her book, it's really good. And there's a dog in it called Cletus. And when I
Cletus,
read that, I'm like, why the fuck did you call a dog like the most stereotypical redneck name, right?
Oh yeah, that's the
But I guess
redneck
if you
name of
are a
year.
redneck, that's just a normal name. So I'm like, like as soon as I hear Cletus, I just hear like diddling ding ding ding
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's hilarious. And Cletus, although it has like a pretty epic, it's like epically redneck. Almost hillbilly.
Like dungarees and a straw hat and
Yeah, it's like I respect you because you probably work really hard and you probably got some really cool stories to tell, but
got
it's
like no teeth.
Yeah, but no teeth. Yeah,
No.
It's hilarious. Oh my God, I wish we've got hollers and stuff and awesome people too. There's lots of wonderful people here. It's just some people live in a way that I could never live, and I respect them. Don't get me wrong. It's not me.
Yeah. I kind of have to have some technology and maybe some like deodorant around and stuff.
At least,
I didn't know what a holler was until I saw Justified, the TV show Justified. It's based on like a short story, I think. Such a cool show. But like, I was like, man, I want to move there. All my mates were like, man, that looks horrible. Like, imagine living there. And I'm like, I want to live there. It looks so cool.
Going tonight.
Yeah. I mean, just random crime, sure, but we get that here too. It's just way less fun.
It's like I think a holler. Anybody here, everybody would have a different explanation to what that means to somebody. I would have to think about it myself. When I see it, it's like, well, that's a holler. And I could be absolutely, completely wrong. But in my brain, I'm right. So that's all that matters.
Yeah,
right?
No, fair play.
Self-assurance.
Your life.
Let's look over here. EL says, I had no idea Cletus was a redneck name. I just knew a dog named Cletus. You live in Virginia, right? You absolutely had to know that was a redneck name. There's probably 50 people. I probably know 5 or 6 Cletus.
She's like from a redneck swamp originally. She's told me about 7 times, but like I have no idea where like anything is in the States. I'm like New York and like Los Angeles, and then there's like wasteland in between. Yeah. Oh no, I would stay away from the coast on either end. But like I think it's like deep down, I just want to like hang out in the countryside and shoot guns and stuff. Like,
it's really fun. And really, you're describing where I live. I don't get into politics for real on my channel, but like I have hobbies that I can talk about. I love shooting guns. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I think that there's times for them and there's times for them not to be there too. So I think that's a personal thing, but they're very fun for sport.
I'm one of the rare Kiwis you'll meet that actually has firearms, like, and a firearms license. Like, we have to go through quite a process. And I actually live in the city where there was that shooting that kind of resulted in all of our semi-auto guns getting banned.
Which anytime that shit happens, that's just the worst of the humans have to offer.
Yeah, and the dude is going through court right now. I think they're going to like put him away for life. We don't have the death penalty here or anything, but
Okay.
I feel like the death penalty will be wasted on him, right? Like, but I mean, all that stuff aside, like I used to go
Right.
out and I had an old SKS, so it's like an old Soviet battle rifle,
Yeah.
semi-automatic and stuff.
Mhm.
But all of that had to get banned.
A
So now
fun
we
one
can
to
only
shoot.
yeah, it was so much fun. We just got like there's videos of me somewhere on Instagram just firing off rounds, like no control or anything, But I'm legally allowed to do it at the time.
It's like,
But now
I
I
might
only have
look
like bolt
ridiculous,
action.
but I'm legal.
Yeah, and I have to wear ear protection, and I've got like sissy girl arms, so I can't even control the recoil properly anyway. I'm like, how the hell did these like malnourished little Russian dudes
Look,
in World War II manage?
if I'm shooting 5 or 10 rounds, like I'm not putting earplugs on, but like I have some. Well, my father, he has I keep my guns there, and we have. I'm trying to remember what 308. That bad
Oh
boy
yeah,
will
yeah,
just stun your
yeah,
eardrums. One time is too many times. Put some ear
yeah.
protection on.
I
9
grew up firing
millimeters
an
are
old.
so loud.
I've never actually fired. Oh no, I fired a handgun once at a range, but I've never really like had much time around them or anything. So to me, the fact that you can just have them in America is so weird because they're like one of the most banned things here. Like anything automatic, obviously we can't get. And before we could get semi-autos, but they'd restrict the magazines to like 10 rounds, I think. No, 5 rounds, something like that. It was really
Hmm.
pathetic. But handguns is such a weird thing for us to see here. So even now,
Really?
occasionally you'll
I
see a
go to
cop with a
Walmart
handgun.
and I see 15
Oh,
people every day with
it's
handguns hanging
so
from their belt.
strange. Yeah, I just love it. It's so Wild West. I mean, I don't I don't want to go around shooting people or anything,
No,
but the
those guys
idea
will
of having
probably
a gun
never
is
get
just
screwed
so
with.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they
it's
won't
like
get
carrying a
messed with.
sword in a medieval time. It's like a status thing, You got like this saber. Like you're not
I
gonna go
mean,
chopping peasants or anything, but it's
if
just
you
cool to
pass a
have.
guy in aisle 6 that has a, a, a 9 millimeter hanging from his side, unless you're completely batshit crazy, you're probably not going to start some serious shit with
Oh
him.
yeah, why would you, right?
Not that he wears it for intimidation, but to protect his family or protect him,
Yeah.
which, gosh, we
To
could get
be
into
fair, I
that
feel like
forever.
no, yeah, a bit of a heated debate, and I imagine that YouTube will just demonetize it. Well, I suppose
Yeah,
ban
you
you
never
outright if
know.
you mention the G word.
Ugh, it's craziness. But I will still always say I absolutely enjoy shooting guns. So
Oh yeah, it's
whatever.
so much fun.
Montague says, well, he says a lot of things. Sometimes I don't read the comment before I throw it up, and the context is just like I'll never find the It's like usually they're talking to each other in the chat. So if you guys ever catch that, just know how stupid I look. I feel even more stupid. So no. Deer hunting season coming in Michigan. Yes.
Oh, that's
Some
cool.
of the biggest deer, bucks, especially and doe, come from that's where my mom and dad grew up, was in northern Michigan.
Oh,
And
awesome.
yeah,
I miss doing that, eh? Like I used to go deer hunting quite a lot when I lived in the North Island. Used to go out with a mate and shoot a deer. I don't actually eat meat unless I've killed it myself. Just
okay,
as like
wow.
I'm not like
Didn't
a
know
hippie
that.
or anything. Well, no, I suppose I am, but I'm not one of those like preachy be like, don't eat meat. People shouldn't eat meat. No, we did it
No,
while we were
I could already
legally,
tell
right?
you're
Like,
not that type.
yeah, but for me, it was just the fact that like I have a mate that worked in a slaughterhouse, and so I'd go catch up with him on lunch breaks and just be like, "Oh Jesus Christ, this whole industry
Yeah.
is so like
It's
it
not
was
fun to
misery."
see how our
Yeah,
food is presented
yeah.
to our table.
I just don't feel people respect the animal enough. Like you go to the supermarket, there's just meat everywhere, and I'm like, people don't
Mm.
really click that that's literally a creature. And I mean,
How
I'm
do
not.
you
Yeah, I
keep
mean, we have to eat them, right? But
But how
I
do you
just
keep a ethical relationship with an animal that it has to be food? Like,
yeah.
um,
Uh,
not that
give
I
it
don't think that
some
that's
head
important.
pats.
Yeah, because if you treat them like a pet, then you're getting really attached to that, and
Yeah,
that's part of your family. Unfortunately, I hate it. I hate to say it because it sounds really cruel, but it's like if you have a farm for meat or something like that, it's like it's a product, but they're human, or they're not human, but they're living creatures.
yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah. They
so
are
hard to
sentient creatures.
disconnect, you
Yeah,
know, the fact that they feel and they have
yeah, they
emotions,
do.
and it's hard, but
Yeah,
it's one of those things. Mother Nature is a real bitch. Like
oh
it's
yeah, well
not
that's the thing when people go, oh, we shouldn't eat meat, oh, we should be nicer and stuff, and it's like, dude, have you seen the way animals kill each other in nature? It's some
a
brutal shit. Like
lion.
yeah, exactly. They're just like tearing pieces off a zebra,
They
and the
will
zebra's
kill
just
their
chilling there,
own
right? Like
cubs.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I just figured that like I don't know, it's like a neat little way to try and be a little ethical or whatever without going too overboard into the like
I respect that. Yeah, absolutely.
But
So
it does
guess
mean
what?
I don't get to eat a lot of meat lately. So
Well, I think that I would struggle with that a little bit, but the fact that you stick to your guns on it, I respect that 100%, man. But guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask a book question.
Oh shit! I distracted him long enough. Quick, guys, run!
I know. Let's go. So Nick asked, Upper Peninsula, no, but close. It's Grayling, Michigan. By Gaylord. I haven't been up there so long, and I was so young when the last time I went there. Yeah, it's just can't remember the surrounding cities, but it's got the Ausable River. It's beautiful, full of rainbow trout. I love it. I want to make it to the Upper Peninsula, which is like Mackinac Island. Now my mom's been there a couple times, but I would love to go eventually. But I digress. How did your journey start with the SPFBO? Like, let's hear how that day went, that week went, however you want to inform us.
Right. I can kind of answer there's a second question as well with the how did you learn of it. I can answer them together.
Okay.
Multitasking. So yeah, I had read is it Red Sister? Mark Lawrence's?
Yeah.
And there's the Broken Empire trilogy, but I don't remember. I think it's just Prince of Thorns that I read, yeah. But I never actually read the rest. And I read them ages ago. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. And so I'd seen his name floating around, and I just thought, he's just a fantasy author, whatever. And I was part of this Facebook group. Like, I don't like speaking ill about people or anything like that, but I found that there were quite a few groups and stuff when I first sort of finished my book and was like, okay, how do I get it out there? I've done the whole self-publish thing. Like, I joined a bunch of groups, and I found that they were very cliquey. I guess you get that with anything. So like, I mean, essentially, we're like forming a clique here or whatever. People could see that from the outside and go, oh, how do I get it on that? But
that's cringe.
When you do see it, yeah, you'd have like, the moderators of a group would be the ones that would be promoting each other's books, and it would just be always convenient that they happen to be the ones that get shared, that sort of thing.
It's a very convenient relationship they had with one another.
Yeah. It's like, I'll check out this great book that I just discovered from my mate here.
From my best friend who's sitting right next to me, and I didn't,
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, hey, check out Nick's book now. But anyway, yeah. So like I was in this group, and I saw this one review, and it was just a list of all these books, and it was the SPFBO, where is it Sword of Kaigen, however the hell you're supposed to say
Kaigen, yeah.
Kaigen?
Yeah, Kaigen, I think.
Yeah. So it was that year, and they had a listing, and I was like, what the hell are all these books? These are not like the normal books that are getting shared around on here. And so I checked it out, and I was like, SPFBO, okay, well, whatever. So I Googled it up, and I looked at it. And then I thought originally that, it must be some sort of like paid contest or something, because a lot of those indie ones, they're real like predatory. They, you got to pay an entry fee.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, really? Like, they just kind of scalping people, I think.
Yeah, but anyway, it's really like kind of like suspect.
Yeah, I forgot about it, right? Like, I just set it in the back of my mind, carried on, just doing whatever I do. And then the following year, I think it came out again, and I was like, okay, this thing is actually getting a lot of attention. People were paying attention to which books are in it. Like, I saw that they were finalists getting reviewed. I had no clue that there were like 300 fucking books in there.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
That's a lot of books, man. That's probably more books than I've read in my entire life, like including
you're not alone
like
on that.
Carey and stuff. Yeah, like, so I the following year I was like, okay, I'm gonna set myself a goal of entering it, right? And then I was like, I should write a book for it, but then I was way too lazy. I didn't write a book, so I was just like, oh, fuck it, Daughter of the Beast will do. And so, in order to
write 3 books on your phone and you're lazy, my friend. I don't think.
Yeah,
so.
Well, it's like ADHD focus, and then after I'm done, I'm like, I am never doing that again until the next time. But yeah, so I saw it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to actually remember to do it. And I saw the blog leading up to it where Mark had tracked the time it had taken to fill in the forms or whatever to get all 300 entries, and it was just this fucking downtrending graph. Like, it took like a day or two the first time, and then this time was like 30 minutes or something.
Yeah,
it's so crazy. I'm like, okay, this is kind of a big deal then, I guess. Like,
it's getting there for sure. If not, it's there already. I mean, but it's getting more competition every year.
Yeah, I guess that's the third question as well. So the third question is,
I love that though, because
that's kind of answering all. But yeah, it's just like I just set an alarm, and because of the fact that we're in backwards land here, it was like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning or something. and I just set an alarm. It was like, I got to enter it. And so I had all the files, all stuff ready to go. And then I just chucked it up and hit submit and then went to bed. And then in the next morning, I was like, I really hope that actually worked. And I didn't think anything of it until the actual page came up with all the different entries.
So
it's like, yeah, I'm in.
How did you just hear like through the grapevine kind of thing? Like, oh, that's interesting. What's that acronym? Or
Yeah,
did somebody tell you about it?
Yeah, it was just that Facebook group, people talking about it, and they were like SPFBO books, and they'd hashtagged it, right? And so I just thought it was like, summer something reading challenge type thing. I don't know, some sort of challenge that, there's a lot of Facebook groups that do like reading challenges. So people will like read a certain number of books and then they hashtag it so that, they can allocate points to different groups or whatever they do. And so I thought it was that. But then when I looked into it, I was like, okay, it's actually run by Mark Lawrence, whose books I really liked. Like, I mean, I should probably read more of them, but I should probably read more in general. But yeah, so I just was like, okay, fuck it, I'll enter.
No, that's cool, man. Well, the reason I ask is like, just kind of seeing through your eyes, like, so the year you heard about it was the year you entered?
No. So the year I heard about it, when was that? I'm gonna look it up for you, man. It was like sort of Kagan, sort of.
I think that was 6.
Was it?
I don't know. Honestly, I have no clue, but I'm just guessing.
2019, 2020. What year are we in? 2023. Okay, so it's like 3 years ago or some shit, 4 years ago. But it was the fact that I'd seen it, right? And that put it on the radar. And I think it was a couple of years went by. I didn't really do anything. And then I was like, okay, by that point, I'd like finished my actual book. And so I'd got it out. So the physical book was ready to go and stuff. And I was like, okay, I guess I can enter it. And then it was this year that I actually did.
That's super cool because you think maybe something that was like planted when you found out about it, like, I've been wanting to write a book, so I might do it now. Or maybe that would be cool to get into if I wrote my book. Or
well, like I finished actually writing my book in 2021, I think, or sometime around then. And then it was like March 2022 is when I actually published it. But I didn't have an intention of entering SPFBO with it. It was just the fact that like I'd seen it the first time, I'd seen the competition, had thought, oh, I could enter my book, but then obviously didn't actually finish it for that or anything. And then this time around, I was like, okay, I will enter this book because I can't be fucked writing another one.
Charlie says it. Yep, full in 41 minutes.
It's
my
crazy.
math's right. That's like 13, almost 14 books entered per minute.
That's so insane. That's
yeah. So it's 300 books. I don't know. Hold on, maybe 136. Guess what? I didn't ace in college or high school ever. But I was just kind of, it's a wonderful number is what I'm getting at. It's like 300 books in 41 minutes. That's very quick. And what that says to me is people take this seriously. People are ambitious. What's the word that I'm trying to use? People are very inspired to be in this competition in which they're seeing so many wonderful authors and books coming out of it and being friends with one another and regaining like relationships and keeping them. It's just a wonderful little community.
Yeah, I think like I genuinely believe that like the traditional publishing model and all that sort of stuff is built to be predatory, right? Like it makes sense that the middlemen, the agents, like realistically speaking, why do you need a person to be the person that you give your product to, for example? Like if it wasn't books, let's say, it's just something. You give your thing to this person, and then that person is the person who then gives it to the person who you're actually going to have a business distribution deal with, who then promotes and distributes your, like why does that middleman exist? They're just a gatekeeper. Like it was set up, I guess, for a reason back in the day. But with digitization, with globalization, it makes sense that you don't need that model anymore. And then you have people like that. Is it Jodi Picoult? How do you say her name? Picoult,
Jodi Picoult or something like that.
The lady, and she just had that TikTok about how like self-publishing is bad. It's the easy way out.
Yes, I saw that.
Bitch, have you ever tried to fucking self-publish? It's hard as hell. You got to do everything yourself.
Wow.
I don't have like $1 billion behind me. Some dude in like Penguin or something like.
And you can tell it's like the proverbial silver spoon is ever present around her.
Yeah, but I mean, it's that whole like pulling the ladder up behind you. I mean, a while back I did like a written interview, and they asked me for some advice to new authors, and I'm like, man, I consider myself a new author, but my advice was that, like, when people say, oh well, Stephen King said do this, do that, or J.K. Rowling did that, it's like, fuck it, forget that. Like, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to you because they existed in a different era. Like the whole model was different then. It's it's not going to work the same way, and you've got to find a way to do it yourself. Knowing how the world works now, just do what you want.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you're going to be met with varying degrees of success depending on how you do
Well,
it.
that's the catch.
Yeah.
If you want to throw your fish in a pretty full pool, and that's kind of the risk it is to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple different reasons people would want to write. I mean, out of ambition, and they just want people to hear their stories and just sell books, just for the experience, or as a way of income or to live off of, which both I respect. I think the latter is really hard sometimes, just based off of people I've talked to, and I don't mean hard as in like it's hard to be successful, but hard to be an indie author in the fact that you have to market, you're going to hire like editors and proofreaders, but is that a good proofreader? Is that a good editor? Who have they edited, and who's successful or a little bit? It's like so many different variables that you probably didn't realize were going to hit you all at once.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the thing where like traditional publishing is actually easier. Is that all of that stuff is it's offshore. Like, you don't have to worry about all that. You just you produce the manuscript. You do what Daddy tells you. Submit that shit to the agent. They send it to a publisher, and then you're cool. You just do what you're contractually obliged to do later. I liken it to like the music industry, right? Like traditional music industry publishing or whatever. Like, you'll see bands. I'm not going to shit on any particular band because it might be someone's favorite or whatever. But I see a lot of popular music, and I'm like, holy fuck, why is this popular? Why is this what people listen to? It's so garbo. And then you hear indie bands, or like there are bands that were like not one-hit wonders, but they were kind of like flash in the pan, or they were forgotten, or they were just highly underrated. And you see that like the indie ones, the less popular ones,
the less molded ones.
Yeah, they're a lot more raw, and there's a lot more talent there, I think, a lot of the time. It's just that there's talent and then there's marketing. And so those two things aren't the same thing. So if you're indie and you want to succeed, you have to have that good, in the music industry, you have to have a banger of a song first, so that people will notice that, because they're not going to notice the billboards and the shitloads of money thrown at you. They're not going to get hooked by the marketing department. They're going to get hooked by the actual, like, the quality of the product you've got there.
That's the point that I love that you just made about the talent and them you seeing more in it. I think that's going to happen, like almost guaranteed, because to be an indie anything, but especially an author, you're going on ambition and love for what you're doing, which just breeds talent, rather than saying, oh, I just want the money.
Yeah, you kind of have to rely on that. You can't rely on just like, you lucked out, you happen to have the thing that they wanted at the time, and they're going to push you. Like, people always joke about like 50 Shades of Grey or Twilight or something, like, and they go like, how the fuck was that popular? Like, have you read it? Oh my god. But at the same time, it's like it exists. It's not well written, if I'm honest. I don't want to be mean, but I'm sure she can probably just cry into her $1,000 notes. Actually, $1,000, not a good thing, but like, she can cry into mountains of money, I'm sure. Yeah. Oh no, that random Kiwi guy shit on my book. But
throw that 50 away.
Yeah, like, the thing about that is that, like, the books themselves aren't good, but the product's good. It's sellable, it's marketable. And I don't like turning what I would consider art into a product. But at the same time, like, you do still have to have it to be a product if you want to sell it. So it's like, where do you draw the line? In my case, I fucking have no idea.
Well, I think that a lot of people are with you on that, because
just wing it.
To be talked to, like, if my book was in, like, I'm sure there's a book at Walmart right now that I would thoroughly enjoy, and maybe I would potentially buy it, but probably not. But what I mean by that is, like, the typical Walmart books. I'm not crapping on any of them. I'm just saying they're not my cup of tea. They're all just cookie cutter. It's like the love triangle, and over and over.
Like Yeah, I think they do say, there's that Facebook group, 20 books to 50K or something, and the idea is that you churn out books to market. Like, it doesn't mean you churn out shit, but I mean, some people do. But like, you figure out what the blueprint is, and you write that. You get covers that match that style, so people will more likely buy something they're familiar with. Like, they're not going to go out of their way to buy something completely weird. Like, if you drive an old Ute, you're not going to Ute. Sorry, that's a pickup truck for a non.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
A utility vehicle, a Ute. So I drive an old '85 Hilux, Toyota Hilux pickup, and so I wouldn't go out and just out of the blue buy like a
Lamborghini,
four-door BM, or a Lamborghini. It's way out of my wheelhouse. Like, I might like it, but it's not something I'm just going to go from one to the other.
Yeah,
and
even if I had the contrast.
Money. Yeah, and I think people do the same thing when it comes to like books. Like, they're gonna see a particular genre, they're familiar with it, it's safe. Better the devil you know, right? Like,
yes.
So,
something I've experienced, like I'm very comfortable with fantasy, especially like the inns and taverns kind of tropes, the coming of age, just the real cozy.
If your book's not set in a tavern, I'm gonna riot.
Oh yeah, it's just the best, and it took a little convincing to like kind of scurry outwards, and I have, and I'm glad I did. There's a lot more out there. For a perfect example, Nick's book.
Same thing with me.
Yeah, like typically I wouldn't read, and now I don't know why I wouldn't, because I will from now on. But that, just if I was to hear like it's hard to categorize. It's like crime with a mystery theme with it, with like this underground like Fight Club feel, like
It feels as though, like, if I had to describe it by comparing, what do they call it, comping or whatever books. So I don't know if anyone's read Archangel. How do you say it in English? Like Archangel by Robert Harris. Robert Harris, I think it is. I think they made it into a mini series as well. So it's like a book set in like Archangel is the town up in northern Siberia, and like it's just a crime kind of like a mystery about Stalin and stuff. It's that, and then there's also like an element of like Gorky Park and those sorts of like gritty, lots of nighttime, lots of snow at night, that kind of vibe. Like Max Payne, the video game, that setting.
Dude, yes, I thought Max Payne instantly.
Yeah, it's that, but then you've got a character, because usually of those, other than Max Payne, usually the main character of those is kind of an everyman. He's like he's like Robert Langdon in those fucking Da Vinci Code ones.
Yeah,
I watched the movie series the other day, and holy shit, he's Captain Mansplainer, man. Holy shit. But anyway, like those. But they usually have like a boring dude to sort of offset the craziness of what's going on.
Caught in the monotonous lifestyle. Yeah.
You got this like action hero dude in an action hero movie. It's literally the Merv or Mill or whatever his name is, parts of Sin City in the book.
Like the book starts out, it's like she's like trudging through the snow barefoot, and I'm like, snow, pine trees, I'm in. I'm there.
Yeah.
We're like 2 sentences in. Let's go.
Yeah. But to your point about that being like really unusual, right? Is I think people will be more likely to experience that sort of stuff if they watch a movie, right? You'll watch movies and they'll be in different genres. But when it comes to books, for some reason, people tend to sit like they go, I'm a fantasy guy. Like you were saying with J.C.M. Burns, Wistful Ascending, right?
Wistful Ascending, yep.
Yeah, like you're like, holy shit, I'm going to read some sci-fi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it really, I suppose, in terms of the actual story structure and what's going on, is it really that different from fantasy, from urban stuff? There's still stories about people. So I don't know why we like
very much related in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is the way that I interpret, I think basically the world, or in that case, like the ship, because that blew my mind. Like his words had me imagining this ship that is just magnificently large.
Yeah.
And that takes time to build in my mind as I'm reading your book. Like that's not something he mentioned 1 or 2 times and just kind of threw it away. Like he built on it every single chance that he thought was right. And I was impressed by that.
Is it the Citadel or something off Mass Effect? The video game series? Yeah, it's like
that
kind of like giant space station, if I understand correctly. Is that right? Like, or is it?
I think so.
Actually, is JC is Joe in the chat? No, damn it! I was going to ask him. Like, is it an actual ship?
He might be. If you are, throw up something here, and
I should probably just read your book, man. I've got it. Another
It's
book
really
I
not a
haven't read
long
yet.
read. It's humorous. Like
Mm.
there's space
I
bears.
just
Like
really love his covers as well, man. Like they've
oh
just got
yeah.
such a cool vibe. They're like early fun X-Men before they got all edgy.
When my wife seen it, she said Blades of Glory. I said, I'm
Oh
telling him you said that. I was like, but then I looked at it and I'm like if you just glance at it real quick, I can see that.
yeah, it's like
But
the
to me,
dude's like
it's Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah, but it's like the fun version, not the edgy one. That's what I always like to think. Like I don't like comic stuff now just because it's got so serious all the time.
Yeah,
I don't know. I kind of like that whimsy.
absolutely. I love that because it's refreshing. It's like
Yeah,
unexpected. If it's unexpected, you didn't expect to read it. It's even more refreshing because you're like, oh,
yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
That
I
was
had fun.
caught me off guard. He should do that again, maybe. Let's continue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I guess that's how you go from one genre to another. Is you do that little bit of one, and then it leads you into the
a lot of trust, I think.
yeah,
Like a lot of trust between the reader and the author because my time is very limited to do extracurriculars, and um, I'm definitely not going to waste my time with something I don't think I'm going to be interested in.
yeah. I think
So
that's real valid. Like that's why people say to like really nail down your blurbs and all that sort of shit as an author. You want to make it so that you're telling a reader, okay, you're in for this sort of experience. But I do see like Steve Hugh Westenra, if I said his name right.
well, I'm not. What was it?
So Steve, another person that was in SPFBO, he just
Oh,
wrote like a horror, but it's about like it's like a queer horror. I think it's about like live streamers or something. But
mm,
then he also did, unless I've got the wrong author. There's a lot of Steves.
that's
He also
super
did the
niche,
Wings of
dude.
Astaroth, and it's like, how do you market something like that? That's so unusual.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when you put in a blurb, like, okay, this book is about, and then you just like list out all the random wacky stuff. Like, how do you market that? And I do
So
feel like that
mm,
takes a lot of faith to get into something like that.
I didn't have this answer before talking to authors a lot, and now I have somewhat of an answer to that, and that's only through asking authors their blurb and
Yeah,
having a reaction to what they give me. Like if it's like red, that's totally fine. I'm comfortable with that. But I like when people um, give me their rendition of their book and they add
yeah,
their theme. Like
yeah,
Zach
yeah.
Argyle was on the show and he talked
Oh
about
yeah,
how powerful women, his wife, his mom,
yeah,
and being a mother and a family and a father. And I was like, oh, dude, like that's all you have to say. And I think if more authors put a little bit of their theme in the blurb, it would
yeah.
do
I
tremendously better.
Zach's stuff, I feel like if you wanted to sum that up as far as theme goes, like he's got like the conflict stuff and he's got like, fighting and whatever. But I genuinely think the theme of his book is, bro, families are pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like it's pretty cool to have a family, right?
I
Like that
love
that
that
I,
too
I genuinely think would be the theme of like Voice of War and stuff. Like,
because
is
it's
that
so
right? Is it
popular
called
now.
Voice of War? It is, his first book. The guy on the cover and he's got like glowing
Voice of
eyes
War,
and
yeah,
this
yeah,
person in
Voice
the
of War.
background with the child. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, that's it. Yep.
yes, yeah.
But it's more popular nowadays to be like, oh yeah, you should just be single your whole life, do
Nah,
you and this and me. I'm like, I guess I'm kind of traditional. Like go
yeah, see,
family.
I am pretty much forever alone, but that's just because I'm too fucking weird to date anyone. They survive about like I don't know, like 2 years, 3 years, and then they're like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Well, I mean that's all of our story until that one comes along. You're like,
Yeah, it's
that's
true.
different. That'll happen. I didn't. I was
Future,
like,
future
there's no
said.
way somebody's gonna like. I ain't got no damn hair. What the hell? Ain't nobody gonna like that.
But you do polish it though, so it's like you can use it
It's
as a
like,
mirror.
okay, if I shave my head, but if I polish it,
Yeah,
that'll bring them in.
it does. It's
Brought
like a
one in.
beacon. That's all you need.
That's it. It's like I'm here. Um. So yeah, I loved that you kind of brought up the blurb because I think that there's some improvements that can be done to make for more in the author's favor.
Mm.
Rather than just say A and B happen and C and D, it might happen. And can you believe that this is,
Yeah, but
um,
what will happen next?
well,
And like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's like I could
what
probably
will happen if
guess.
yeah, yeah,
It's like these two will fall in love, but that's her best
yes,
friend. It's like no, I already know I'm
yeah.
putting it down. But if you
She'll
give
have
me a
a
theme
yeah,
and it hits somewhere with my moral standards or something that I hold dear, because I think themes have to be that. I don't think that they can just be some random thing that nobody cares about. Then I think that's a really cool thing that I want to do is get just a little tidbit of the theme. Charlie says, since stumbling into the indie book scene, my book buying has been 90% indie and 10% traditional. The quality and originality in the indie world is off the charts good. I totally agree.
Yeah. Like I don't want it to be like this indie versus trad, us versus them thing, right? I think it's like on the back of that whole Jodi Picoult, whatever, Jodi Dickhead, more like, off the back of her. I just like I noticed it really stood out to me what Mark Lawrence has done with SPFBO, right? Like you can be successfully traditionally published because you've made it in a field and you've done really good work, and you can use that platform to help and elevate people, right? Like you could choose to, right? What he's done, or you could be some dickhead that goes on Twitter and shits all over this whole other way of doing things. And
there's
to me,
lots of those, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm like, why does it have to be different? Like, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the business practice side of the traditional publishing model because I think of it as predatory. But that's not because I'm like shitting on the authors. Hell no. I actually feel bad for the authors that these dudes are taking like 50% of their money. That's not fair. What did that guy do?
And the rights, so from what I understand, rights too, right? Like,
like they take your rights and then you can't make stories in your own world like that.
I want you to write a story that I can sell and make it my own, but it's like, what?
So I definitely feel for them more than I want to compete with them or like see them fail or anything like that. I'm more like I just want them to get more of what they're due.
I have literally not seen that one single time have I seen, but my book's better than yours, or not a single time.
I mean, clearly my book's better than everyone's, right? Like,
clearly.
I mean, obviously.
And now it starts.
Yeah, then I pass them. Oh shit, that's the wrong way. I pass the money across to you.
But no, it's so refreshing. It's like there's so many different things in my life. Even if it's just going to Walmart, like I'm in a dickhead every single time I go to Walmart. It's like, man, that guy should have stayed home because he really pissed me off today. But not in the indie or writing community. Traditionally, like just the writing community review, the whole thing as a whole. I just have not seen that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of drama I see on Twitter. I mean, people always shit on Twitter and they say, "Oh, it's so negative and stuff." But to be fair, like I just dabbled in Blue Sky or whatever the other one is called, right? And it seemed like everyone was just really angry and political. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't even know what's going on in the world. Like, I don't read the news. I don't care about any of that. Like, I just like people. I don't care what fucking color of corporate sponsored person you vote for is, like, and so for me it's like I like Twitter because I can curate my experience. I mute people that go on and on and on about politics. I unmute them after a little while because they're obviously just on a roll there. But I've seen a lot of like authors versus reviewers and stuff, like where people go, "Oh, reviews, these stupid reviewers," and and then they dogpile on an author because the author had the gall to like push back on a reviewer, and I'm just like, why? Why can't everybody just be friends?
It's like, why create an issue in somebody's life when they're human? There's so many more issues that they're dealing with that I'm dealing with. Like, why create that additional bit?
We're all there to read and write and enjoy books, right? Like, I think I said last time around, it's like the tool that you use. It's the magic MacGuffin that like brings the gang together. It's like
but what is the name? Oh, nope, I'm a little backwards. Sorry, a little brain fart. Turn the page here because I'm fancy guy.
I love that you actually have physical printed pages.
Oh, dude, and like old people font. Like, there's no way I'm missing one single word because your boy's got it in like size 26 font.
Oh man, I gotta make a special edition of my book just for you in that font, and it will be like this fat. Yeah.
Which of the other finalists are you a fan of? Have you read any of the finalists' books?
I actually, to my detriment, to my eternal shame, I have not. I haven't read.
We have 300 books. I mean, that's a lot.
So like man, I have so many books. I have a Kindle account, and I just buy books and I put them on there, and I open them up and I read like 3 pages and go, I really like this, and then I
Yeah,
get sidetracked, and I
like
like,
squirrel.
yeah, like I feel like, so I keep talking about Elle, but like, so I do art for her, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes.
which is
Actually,
awesome, by
I
the
don't have
way.
it. My little jumper with the. Hold on a sec. Let me just grab it.
Grab it. Yeah, he does some really cool art. He's got art in his own book. Like the first page you flip, it's these dog-like people. Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. So I did the art for that, and I owe her like what, like 4 more pictures? Is that right? Al? Anyway, but I'm so slack. I just never get around to doing it because I just get sidetracked. I mean, I'll spend like 2 hours just talking shit with her on Discord instead of actually doing the art. I could be doing both at the same time, but like, who would do that? So
No,
yeah,
no.
I find like when it comes to reading other people's books, like I get them and I buy them and I like look at them and then I just don't read them. So I feel real bad because I've bought all of them so far. And
Mm,
my plan is at least to get the physical versions of all of them this
yeah.
year and just have them up on my shelf. And I
Well,
figured like if
you're
I
gonna
have a
find
physical
that
book, I actually
time where
feel
you want to
like,
grab it.
yeah, I read physical books more often than I do digital, even though I buy them all digitally.
Okay,
So
baby.
yeah.
No, are you okay? My little ones. I think he's a little sick. So pardon them. A little
Oh
bit of
no.
whining. It's all good.
Yeah.
I feel bad for my kids when it's like before you're a parent, it's like um, you don't get it, and
Yeah,
then when
yeah,
you
no,
get
for
like
sure.
like stuffy nose, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so it's lovely being a parent, but it's also like, oh man, you care so much, and it's like there's no way to not care to a fault because of course you created a life,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it brings so much meaning to your life, which things like the themes that we talk about in books or um, a million different other similarities that we speak about somebody's prose, the way that they talk about their grandmother, the way that a lodge makes you feel at home, like all those different things come from experience, and we've all
Yeah.
got different experiences, and when we can come together and kind of share that, um,
Oh,
I
that's
don't
what
think
it's
you
all
can
about,
fail.
really. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I don't really even know where that stemmed from, but hey, I just felt like preaching, I
Yeah, that was
guess.
good. I liked it. It was, yeah.
um, Thank you. See, large print is a thing. Yes, it is
Yeah.
because I don't really have like hard of like I don't have bad eyes or nothing, but I will absolutely because I'm like you where I'll see a piece of paper and I'm just like, oh, I wonder where that thing came from, and just completely lose where I was at. But if the words are like this big,
Yeah.
I'll easily find my place.
Yeah. I
And I
would
also like to
like
take
to make one.
notes.
Yeah. I think like the large print thing's just a nice thing to do. Like, it is one of those things where it's permitting. It's like, I would love to do audio as well for people who have bad eyesight altogether or
Yes,
can't read,
accessibility,
because
man.
yeah, if they're blind, then I want them to still be able to experience it. But it's not because like, it's fucking expensive. It's like thousands of dollars to get someone to record it, and do it like, I guess, unless you do it yourself, which I definitely can't, because who the hell wants to hear me talk,
EL's
narrate my story?
dropping. I had to say so. EL's dropping some hints over here, real hard in front of your face. We have to hear your comeback to that.
Oh yeah,
I don't
so
know. She said after seeing the Zen art, I'd rather you finish that hardcover project.
yeah,
Let us
so
know.
I shared that picture on Twitter, the like a picture of my character. I drew that on this shitty computer that I've got here. Like, this is my drawing computer. This is why your art takes so long, Al. Look, the fucking thing's broken. Like,
That guy.
I nah, so it's like that's one of the I put them in the physical copy, but I just drew like a colored picture of the main character, and I put it on Twitter. Um,
Ooh,
and the plan was basically like, at some point I'm going to do a bunch of color art of all of them and then put them in the physical, like a physical hardcover special edition, because a lot of people do
yeah.
Kickstarters, and a lot of the money from the Kickstarter goes towards hiring artists to draw shit.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm
I
like, well, I
always
can,
wondered, but I kind of knew the question, and you just answered it. Like it had to go with those wonderfully artistic people.
yeah, like, I mean, I can already draw, right? So I probably should. Like, like I spent years and years slacking off at school drawing, so I probably should make use of that. But I'll see if I can find the picture on my phone. Like,
I was trying to find my guy Tim McKay's book because
Has he got art on the inside of it? The actual
here it is.
book,
No, it's not the art. Let me show you. We were talking about larger print, and he did that with his, and I love it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's
it's
so
the perfect
cool.
size.
Yeah, yeah. I feel as though like my book would probably be really, really fat if I did that. It's not even that fat a book, really. It's not. It's quite short for a big fantasy book.
What, daughter?
Yeah. So that's the picture I did. I like.
Oh yeah, I showed my wife that earlier.
Yeah. So like
She
I
loved it.
painted it years ago, and then like when I was writing the book, but it was like all I'd saved was like this tiny little like 500 by something pixel version of it, and I lost the Photoshop file. So I have that shitty old laptop. You can draw directly onto the screen on that. And I was like, at first I got what is it? Stable diffusion? No, one of those shitty AI things, right? And I put it in there. I was like, make it bigger, and it kept changing it. Like it would make her like anime, or it would like. It kept trying to make her naked first off, but I think whoever trained
I
those
think it
models
would look
definitely
better
using it for porn.
naked.
Yeah. It's just like I wonder what people are using AI for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it was horrible. So I was like, oh fuck it, I'll just like stretch the picture myself and then paint over it again.
No, it's okay.
So I did that. But the plan was to do like full page cover art. I really like that, when you get a hard copy and it's got like fancy
No,
art.
I
So,
think anything with art like it just adds value and intrinsic value and sentimental value after you have it. Like
like you can look in there and just and it helps people picture the characters and stuff as well.
yeah, it gives you like a
Newell, is she in here? No. So she's got like the super special editions of her books, and she's got like annotations. You announced them, right? Like little annotations. I thought that was the coolest thing, but then I was like, what would I put in mine? It would all just be dumb shit.
Well, I think that maybe a little bit of insight into what you're thinking while you're writing the page. But see, that's too much work for me. Like I'm trying to write a story. It's like I'm not going to think about what I'm thinking about to think about writing it down.
Yeah, right. Like there's too many layers there. In all honesty, and it's something that I've never really heard a lot of authors admit. But like I wing literally everything. Like
I love that.
Like you were saying about the Panthers.
And damn you for being that good.
Oh, it's not good. It's just I can't focus, man. Like I tried plotting. You were saying that it seems disingenuous for people to just pants or just plot, right? Like because you definitely will do a little of others. I shared one of my plans online. It's literally 4 lines. It's like this person chapter, then this person chapter, then they go in this thing and they find this thing, and I didn't even follow it anyway. Like I tried, but I couldn't.
You had your way you were writing your way and didn't even know it. Like then you found out, like I think this is better. Let me just write and see where it takes me.
Yeah. I kind of just wing it the whole way through. I don't know. It is frustrating because you have to be in mindset.
Yes. Real quick, just a couple things because I may have to end it a little sooner than I wanted to. Unfortunately, my little guy Matthew Jr. He's not feeling real good. So, but I do want to get to a couple things real quick before we go.
Yeah.
Well, first off, dude, absolutely outstanding and huge congratulations to being a finalist. How many finalists will there be? 8?
Are there 10?
10. So out of 300 books,
I should know.
There's 10 left, and you're one of them. That's got to feel pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it does. But like, I genuinely feel a bit bad. Like I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure those other books were better, right? Like it's just luck of which judge read your book first, right? Like that's you pass that first hurdle. You might have got stuck with your book might have got picked by someone who it just didn't resonate.
Yeah, but yours didn't. You made it to the finalists. That has to mean something. Sure.
So I mean, obviously, yeah. Like I don't know, maybe just being too humble or whatever. But like I'm stoked. I genuinely am, and like yeah, I really appreciate it as well. Like I feel like an eternal debt of gratitude for Dom and Bookborn, and just in general, people who've like been super nice about it. Like I didn't expect people to like respond so well.
So it was refreshing and
it
like self-motivating to hear what people had to say, and now that's being backed up through the competition.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that like it doesn't really follow standard story structure. It's like strange. It's pretty manic, and like the theme, the vibe of the book changes quite rapidly throughout, and it follows a kid from when she's like 10 years old until she's 16, which is generally like a no-no. People are like, don't start with your character as a child. I'm like,
Like,
fuck it.
listen,
I
I'm
did
an
it
indie
anyway.
author. I'm gonna start with what the hell I want
Yeah,
to.
yeah. So
Love that.
kind of like, yeah, I really appreciate that people appreciate it though. It's really wholesome.
Charlie being one, love the artwork and Daughter of the Beast. Yeah, the covers
Yeah,
are just
thanks, Joe.
sick, man. I've got 3 here. The people deserve. I'm sure they're very familiar with them, but if they're not, well, the green screen, damn you.
Yeah, well, one of them is green, so
Yeah,
kind of screwed
the
there.
newbie over here with the green screen. Of course, I should have thought about that. But either way,
Yeah.
they're wonderful covers. The book's even like I don't think I'm too weird in this, but I like the feel of certain books over another book. It's like, okay, I could, I really enjoy the matte feel or
that text, the texture that they have on the cover and stuff. Yeah, it's real satisfying. I've got like
you've got a good
piles of
feel to your
shelves.
book. Yeah, exactly. Oh yes, nice.
I just have them so that I can send them to people and stuff, and I just like holding them.
Oh yeah, there's just something about it's like, and there's this thing that's like, I can enjoy whatever I want to because I want to, no other reason than that. Like,
yeah,
the subjective part of writing and reviewing and even like the editing, not editing. I don't like. I guess what I mean is reviewing, because we all kind of review in a different way. Some people are more, so if you favor world building, you're probably going to focus more on whether that book that you're reading is fulfilling that, your area of interest.
Exactly, yeah. Like I put a little poll up just on Twitter about that, like just seeing what people liked. And dumb enough, I put like drafting and writing in the same one, but I kind of meant for them to be 2 different things. Like one of them's kind of messily going through the story, and the other one's actually going through from start to finish. But like I was really surprised a lot of people like editing. So I imagine when they're reading books, they might have a mindset towards like, how does the sentence flow? How does it like set out? Yeah.
That's curious to me too. It's like there's little nuances of things that you don't think, like it's impossible to think about or recognize because you've never done it. Like as far as write a book or try to write books or even write like if you've never written anything like a story, there's going to be parts that you discover all over the place that's part of that process that you had no clue. You had no clue how you would think or what would influence you to do that. And I'm kind of picking through that myself right now.
Oh yeah. Out you're writing, like I'm really looking forward to reading it. Like
well, E.L. Montague, he's been like a mentor to me and really helped me with being more efficient in a couple ways and encouraging me to just write. He knew that I wanted to write, and he encouraged me to. And it's something called the Writers of the Future contest. And
I saw that. Yeah.
So
like you enter in, and there's a chance to like win a reasonably decent prize and stuff as well, right?
Like I think more than anything, if you win, from what I've done my research, it really opens up possibilities for you. Matt says, Matt, I legitimately thought you were talking about one of the 2 guys from the Brothers Gwynn when I first came in here. I'm not sure what the context of that is, but those guys are wonderful also. I love their dad's writing, and they're very they're pretty critical in the way that they do their reviews, and they have wonderful accents that make everything sound legit.
Yeah,
it's like I can watch that.
Sorry for my shitty accent.
No, you've got a good one, my friend. and they seem like the Gwynns seem like a solid family. Like they're really what I'm about, or what I try to be about, or aim to be about. It's like they've got that family structure, and you can tell they're all close. And
I love that. Like, I mean, my family's not particularly close, but we sort of are, but we sort of aren't. I don't know. Like we're 5 kids, mum and dad, and so it's like we be at each other's throats all the time.
I think that just comes out with
super openly and stuff. So yeah, pretty good.
Oh, he says EC looks absolutely identical to one of them. I don't think so. I know who you're talking about, but I don't think he looks identical to him.
Yeah, can he grow this sweet stubble?
That's right, man.
The most I can grow.
The guy you're talking about, I don't know his name, Matt, but he's got the baby face of the 2.
Yeah, not me.
This is rough and tough, EC. This is, who you're talking to. No, I'm playing. No, so like I said, the Brothers Gwynn, like E.L. Montague just put under that comment, they are solid, and they have a famous father. It's, you know, at first I judged them for that. I hate to say
Oh,
that, but I'm just a normal human. I'm like, oh, of
yeah.
course they got a booktube channel and it's going to be successful because their dad writes books. It's not that. It's not handed down. It's like there's so much work that goes into what they're doing, and you have to absolutely have that passion for it, or it's just going to get like you're going to get burnt out, and people are going to see it, and they're like, dude, let's move on.
And you can tell when someone's just cashing in on their parents' fame or their fame or whatever to do something, and whether they're genuinely interested in what they're doing and create something.
Yeah. Okay, so you haven't read any of the finalist book, which if we, I don't know the math, but the statistics of you reading what could potentially be one of 300 books, I'm sure is quite small. But I was still curious. What are you currently reading?
At the moment, I am reading An Ocean of Others. So that's
Joshua Scott Edwards. Joshua Scott Edwards.
Yeah. I'm loving it because it gives me I really like, and I know it's not a popular thing, but I really like that Fable 2 Bloodborne. I mean, I love the vibe, but that era of like swords and shit, but they have guns, but the guns are really crappy. Like, I don't know, I really like that. Like the idea of having a sword fight and just whipping out a pistol and just be like, boom, but it's like some blunderbuss thing. Like, and so he's got that tech level, but so far, it seems. Now I understand that it doesn't all take place in the city, but so far he's still in it. So Grimm, that's a second Grimm, by the way. That's Grimm version 2, because I've read E.L. Lyon's Starlight Jewel, and she's got a dude called Grimm in that as well. So I'm just collecting Grimm books.
Just collect them up.
Yeah, but not Grim Dark though.
I got, I believe it was Joseph Sale sent me, and his book said, "May your beard be dark and your bookshelf even darker." So all right, I like that.
It's pretty good.
So I'm actually collecting up.
Yeah, I'm not one for like particularly miserable or dark or like grim stuff. Like you've talked about it a few times about like miserable versus like gritty, and I'm kind of on the same page as you. I think like I don't like.
There's a reason for it.
Suffering. Yeah. Like I'll be fine with reading it. I don't have like trigger warnings or anything like that. But at the same time, like I don't enjoy people suffering.
It's like it's going to desensitize you if it's for absolutely no reason. Like I don't want to hear like, I'm not going to go into some vivid examples, but I think we can all think of those examples. And if they're happening and they somehow, contribute to the story, okay, we'll get through it. If not, like, man, I can't respect that, because you're trying to and shock people and expect that to sell your book.
It's like in horror games, it's the difference between a creepy atmosphere and shit you don't want to do. Like, you have to go into the dark basement, but you don't want to because there's something in there, versus something just popping up on your screen and being like, boo! And you're like, okay, cool, I got a fright, but I'm not scared. Like, I got a fright.
The genre, and I was drawing a blank as you were speaking it, but Matt Owens-Jones, wonderful author, Flintlock Fantasy, the swords, and then you pull out
fantasy. Yeah, I love it. It's a strange genre that I never really knew that I liked, but I just like because Bloodborne is like one of my all-time favorite games, just for the vibe.
So hard.
Just for that.
It's annoyingly hard.
Would you believe that I literally beat that what is his name? The Orphan of Kos, if you've got up to it. Everybody cries about how hard that boss is. I beat him on my first try. Like I struggle with all the bosses that people don't struggle with. I'm backwards.
Elden Ring, I'm like 120 hours like in the Elden Ring, and I'm like 16% done with the game, and I can't commit any more time to that frustration.
Fair enough. Yeah,
the blood pressure goes through the roof.
Yeah, for
They've
me,
got something there, but it's for somebody special.
Elden Ring. I got annoyed with Elden Ring because it doesn't let you be sneaky. Like you can sneak, but it doesn't really work. Like because you'll get into a boss fight. What are you going to do then? And so I was playing as the little sneaky dude with a dagger. It was a terrible idea. Like I just had to cheat with that big blood hound sword or whatever it was.
Now, it's a wonderful game. I hope that I'm not turning anybody away from it, because it's really fun. If you are willing to like go through self-sacrifice and tears yourself while you're sitting there, and maybe a couple broken controllers, maybe a TV. I've gotten close to that, Matt.
I'm actually surprisingly chill. Like I think I struggled in Bloodborne. I struggled with Rom the Vacuous Spider. I struggled with that boss so much because I'm just really bad at like positioning my dude, and so I get squished by the little spiders that jump. But like all the hard bosses, I'm just pieced out. I'm just sitting there like, just, okay. And then, but I just get lost everywhere. So the main thing that I died from was just falling off shit. Like,
Andrew D.
terrible.
Mathis, he's waving at us right now, and I
Stop,
super appreciate it. A new author, not a new author, but to me, a more recently discovered author through Michael Roberti, highly suggested through him. And I was like, okay, yeah, I've definitely got to talk to this guy. And I'm enjoying Thrice. Haven't finished yet, but he does his own audiobooks too, which is, it's like,
No way.
like, how many talents can you have? You know, write and format and also do your audiobooks. I respect it, man. That's super cool. So thank you for being here. What's next for you? I know, you know, you're looking forward to the end of the SPFBO and finding out if your book makes it and wins. But anything else?
I mean, to be fair, I don't really care if I win or not. Like, I would like to, obviously, because it's cool and I get to say, oh, I won a contest. But realistically, this just meeting people was what I really wanted to do. Like, so I guess continue that. Like, I've decided that, I wanted to do like a hard copy, like a hardback version of my book with pictures in it and stuff. So I'm going to be drawing pictures, and I still have to finish pictures for Elle as well.
Look, we'll get together and get all these people, and we'll figure out who we got to contact, get a Kickstarter going. I think
I have no idea how to do one, but I'll have to learn it. But then the other thing as well, so there's the advent of winter. Obviously, I just asked if I could. Actually, Dom reached out on Twitter and just said, "Hey, are there people who want to do art for this?" And I was like, "Please pick me."
Oh, wow.
I just want to put a picture in it. Like, I don't want to get paid or anything. Hell no. Like, I don't want any of that. I just really want to draw some snowy shit. Like,
well,
I've noticed
that's
nearly
pure.
every picture I draw has snow in it. Like, I just like it's because in Photoshop you put like spray painty blobs of white and then you just blur them so it looks like snow. I just like doing it. It's really satisfying. So I'm gonna draw snow stuff.
I'm a huge fan of snow. I think
it's
kind of
great.
hit that home.
I love it, but I just don't like being in it. But yeah, so I want to do that, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to yet. You know, obviously there are far better artists than me that probably should. But yeah,
I think that you've got some cool things coming up that you don't know about yet that are going to stick. Yeah.
Oh, hopefully. Yeah.
Anything else that's coming up for you? In the near future that you want to shout about?
I am going to get my wisdom tooth out tomorrow.
Oh man, yeah. See,
so I'll be officially stupid after that.
I'm very, very scared of the dentist.
Yeah,
I hate the dentist, and I'll never like that guy.
I've got to get both the bottom ones out, like because one of them broke, and so it's got a hole, and then just got to rip them both out.
Oh yeah, it hurts. Don't get me wrong, but the pain still hasn't brought me to that guy's office. I seen one dude darn near put his foot near my wife's face trying to pry her back.
No way.
I was like, look, I have to leave for a second. So, you know, not to scare you through, you're getting.
Oh no, I'm pretty resilient. Like I've had the top ones out before, and I'm just like, it's the cost, man. It's going to be like $1,600.
This is just repetitions for you.
Yeah, just pull them all out. Fuck it. I'll just for the rest of my life.
I'm gonna go give my kids a big hug and maybe some medicine, I'm sure. But real quick, before I do that, as always, it's just so much fun when we can get together and we have a lot of the same interests and beliefs and
absolutely.
We're both a little goofy, which is so much fun, man. So this will definitely lead into our third talk, which we should do soon.
Yeah, for sure. It's so much fun. Like, I don't think people realize we talked for a bit before this and we almost missed this because we were just talking about random shit. Like,
yeah. I was like, hey, hold that thought.
Like, we gotta go live.
And that's when you know it's going to be a fun conversation. And it always is. So
you're getting pestered in the chat by El Montague. So you got to remember to tell people that you've got Ryan Cahill. Cahill or Cahill?
This is one of the things he helps me with. It's Cahill, yeah. And the only reason I know that is because Mike's book reviews had him on for an interview. And that was the interview that I was like, I want to do that. And so I get to tell him that tomorrow. So he was a huge inspiration to me starting this channel and specifically Mike's interview with him. Because I found myself taking the booktubers who did those interviews very, very serious and more serious. Not that the people who don't do interviews aren't having wonderful content, but I'm an individual and I like what I like, superior to other things. And that's what I found the most genuine and interesting to me was people. Because behind every book is a person. So, man, it's just going to be so fun. This journey that so I get to turn in my first story December 31st. Look who popped in.
No shit.
Ryan, what's going on, man? What are the chances I jumped on at this exact moment?
I swear to God, if you talk about him, you summon him.
Hey, we're manifesting our destinies over here.
Hello from Christchurch. Hope you guys aren't getting completely.
Oh yeah, you guys are like
he's up in Tauranga, right?
So how far is that away from you?
It's like a couple hour flight. Like he's in the North Island on the right hand side. He lives about 2 hours away from where I grew up, pretty much in Hamilton.
Oh, that's really cool, man. So maybe one day you guys be like, all right, let's do a little collab on a book. I'll bring the art to it.
Just New Zealand authors.
Yeah, just some, what. So when somebody says Kiwi, is that?
Yeah, Kiwis. It's just the word for New Zealand person or New Zealand thing.
I didn't want to say it. It'd be like a disrespectful.
Oh no,
thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had never heard that reference before.
We've got a native bird that's the kiwi. It's like this tiny little brown thing with a long beak, and it's a flightless, kind of crappy bird, if I'm honest. But that's our national bird, so we're Kiwis too.
Well, you live where Lord of the Rings, everybody of course knows that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty stinking epic. But I digress. Yes.
So Ryan on tomorrow.
You can have a kiwi, holding a kiwi, chasing a kiwi.
Yeah, and eating a kiwi.
Oh.
Because of the fruit, right?
Yeah, sure. I actually really like kiwis. I feel like a lot of people don't like kiwis.
No, they're great.
What's wrong with you?
It's gonna be cool.
Make sure I didn't see anything over here.
I'll be drugged out of my eyeballs, man, on dentist drugs, and so I'll jump into the chat on that. I'll just be like fucking typing
local anesthetics.
Yeah. I want the one where they knock you out, like, because I've never had that before, and I've seen videos of people waking up from that and just tripping.
Oh yeah, completely
about
just
all sorts of wacky stuff.
disorientated. Just like, look, when I get out, record me. I don't care what I sound like or what I say or do. Just keep rolling.
Yeah, for posterity, it would be great.
Yeah, and but I digress again.
Sorry.
No, this is what's wonderful about our talks. But yes, tomorrow at 9 Eastern, like this one, when this one started, I'm going to be talking to Ryan, and it's going to be really a lot of fun. I can't wait, and I hope you guys show up. And had a lot of fun with E.C. Greaves. This is the second little chat we've had, and definitely won't be our last. We have so much fun doing it. So thank you. And thank you for everybody in the chat who is here watching, and for anybody who'll watch in the future.
Thanks, guys.
And until next time, you guys have a wonderful night.